Today, an explosive 16-count indictment unsealed federal court today, charging former Abercrombie and Fitch CEO Mike Jeffries, his British romantic partner Matthew Smith, and a third man, James Jacobson, with criminal charges of sex trafficking involving dozens of men, luring them into sex parties around the world and often promising them modeling jobs. The case is being handled by the Office of the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of New York, which has been working with the FBI and the New York Police Department Special Victims Unit. Here's the spokesperson for the prosecution detailing the charges.
The defendants pressured the men to consume alcohol, Viagra, and muscle relaxants known as poppers during the sex events. Jeffries and Smith either directed others to inject or personally injected men with an erection-inducing substance for the purpose of causing the men to engage in sex acts when men did not or could not consent. Jeffries and Smith violated the bodily integrity of these men.
Joining me now is Brad Edwards, representing more than a dozen victims in a class action lawsuit. Mr. Edwards, thank you for joining me. The material question for people at this stage of it will be, what should they understand about this that made it not consensual, not something that was, by arrangement, whether there was undue influence or not?
Thanks, Chris. Thanks for having me. So there's nothing consensual about it. These were aspiring young models who were sought out and promised to be Abercrombie models, essentially. They were all forced to wear Abercrombie clothes to events that were decorated as if it was an Abercrombie store. They were given an interview with the CEO of Abercrombie, that being Mike Jeffries, made to sign NDAs, told that if they ever disclosed this, that bad things would happen to them reputationally, financially, potentially physically. And then they were taken into a room, and the most heinous of sexual and abusive crimes committed against them. And this went on for over a decade. The power disparity couldn't have been any bigger. And anyone at that time looking to be in the modeling industry would know that if they said anything about this, their career as an aspiring model would have been over. There was nothing from any of the victims we've talked to, nothing consensual about any aspect of this.
What are the ages?
So the ages at the time ranged between about 19 and 25 on average.
So how do you make that case? How do you make the case that because they were adults, right? The age of contract, let's say, is 18. What makes this different than, immoral?
Sure. Well, certainly when we represented the victims of Jeffrey Epstein, it was very different, right? Because they were minors. But in the case of individuals who are not minors, then the elements of sex trafficking are that force, fraud, or coercion is used to cause an individual to engage in commercial sex. And in this case, the false promise of an Abercrombie modeling gig is the ultimate fraud. Coercion through the NDAs and the threat of harm, that is the coercive tactics that were used to force commercial sex. So if force, fraud, or coercion are used to cause someone to engage in commercial sex, that is sex trafficking by definition.
Hey, thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget, click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.